So guys, why do you use the term ANOVA? And why do you write the term ANOVA in this section of statistical analysis? As if ANOVA is everything, which is totally wrong. I told you from the beginning that ANOVA have a specific task to perform. When you are caring about this statistical analysis, you have several statistical tests to opt. And this will depend on the type of data you're having, the kind of information you need to display from the data that you're having. But when I was going through the proposal, the document that you sent to me the last weekend, I came to realize that everyone has written in different ways, but bring the concept that ANOVA will be used for data analysis. I came to realize that even the last class that I tried to teach and explain about the selection of some statistical tools on the process of statistical analysis, I realized that there are somewhere we are not together. Now, I am going to tell you a little bit about this misconception for you junior researchers. We all know that while you are preparing the document, this we call a research plan or plan of research, or the document by the names, what we call the proposal. One section within the research methods is this statistical analysis. Under statistical analysis, we are exactly intending to find out information, trying to tell on how you are going to analyze your data. From where we will get a lot of information on particularly on what type of information you are exactly intending to communicate to the public. From the same section, which is the statistical analysis, most of you in your documents, it's totally wrong written. There is no clear statement that is trying to explain each and everything that is correlated or related with your objectives. By the times when I was passing through your document, I came to realize this sentence. Let me make it clear here. I came to find this sentence that I've tried to make it in simple and clear. That data from the proposed study will be analyzed by using ANOVA. That full stop. So from here, I ran three important aspects. First, you don't know what is ANOVA, by the way. Second, by the time you were going through different literature from other scholars, you saw somewhere that one of 2, 3 documents were written on either related information that data maybe were analyzed by the use of ANOVA. So you take the same information to you without knowing what was the secret behind and why he wrote that particular sentence in his findings. That is second. The third is you assume as if ANOVA is a complete package of which it will do everything. Now, I am going to tell you the important aspect that you need to consider while trying to communicate this, how to write a statistical analysis sections of your research work. But before I go to that particular perspectives, let me take you back on the last class. I tried to explain on this that how do we select on a proper statistical test for your data. And I said, for an appropriate selection of a statistical test that fit on your data for carrying out a statistics, it will depend on the type of information, nature of your study, and several criteria as I used. And I said we have the so-called parametric test and non-parametric test. I also mentioned about type of statistics that you need to care based on whether parametric or non-parametrics. I said we have the t-test, we have the chi-test, we have one-way ANOVA, we have factorial ANOVA, Markova, etc., etc. And I said we have also the so-called correlational analysis, where you need to conduct a so-called Pearson correlation or Spearman correlation coefficient. Depend on what do you want to do with your data. And I also said you can even go for a so-called regression analysis when you want to make some predictions of the outcomes for the near futures. And I said there are several criteria that you need to consider while trying to speak about the selection of the statistical components. In this, what we call statistical analysis, which is the last section on this research methodology when you're preparing the proposal. And while writing a manuscript for publication, it's within research and method, material methods. On material method, where you have the study side, after the study, you go for your experimental related or research field related studies, and then you go for data, how you collect the data and whatever. At last, you will have this section which tries to explain about a statistical analysis. How your data were statistically analyzed to bring about the hidden information in it. If you are preparing a proposal, this is on also the last section of the research methodology, where it will be telling about how are you going to analyze your data. But unfortunately, most of you guys, when I was going through your documents, I realized that you selected that ANOVA will be the instrument or statistical tools for analysis of your data. But when you go back to your objectives, some of your objectives are correlation in nature. Some of the objectives were looking about regression that you wanted to see to create some models to reflect some perspectives in the next times. But all in all, you didn't take care of those parameters, and you simply concluded that your data will be analyzed by the using of ANOVA, which is completely wrong. Now, I want this situation to happen to you once again. I am going to tell you what exactly should be written in these sections of a statistical analysis. We have three important steps that I have grouped them into three important that you need to conceptualize and understand. First, before you do anything, you need to identify the type of data you are having and what type of data and what type of manipulation you want to do with your data. From where you start rethinking and thinking of a proper statistical tools. It's not just ANOVA. ANOVA is one component whose objectives is to define the variation, the difference of means between the set of data. It cannot do other related statistical parameters like comparisons of the difference between other parameters like regression and whatever correlation. ANOVA has its own perspectives. When you speak about the data will be analyzed by ANOVA, meaning you are going to a specific objectives, not to the entire work of your document. That's why I say you need to identify data that you need to manipulate. Second, after identifying the data, you need to specify the statistical tools based on the kind of data that you are having. And lastly, you need to write a complete information, not a simple sentence as it is indicated here, of which, to me, I call it, this is a complete wrong. It's a wrong because the way you have tried to state the statistical analysis by the using of this ANOVA, as if ANOVA is a complete package that will do everything, that's totally wrong. I'll give you some examples here. What do we need to write on that particular section? Remember, I told you about normality of data, homogeneity of data. I speak about the nature of data. Why do we use this particular? I spoke also about the post-hoc test analysis and more others, but I will specifically try to refresh on those particular aspects. All those information need to appear on the analytical, on statistical analysis section. For instance, you need first to speak about how your data will be normalized, because you are not sure whether the data that you will acquire will be normally distributed or not. So if you are intending to use the normality kind of test, which is parametrics, you need to state clear from your proposal that the normality of data will be verified using as a Shapiro test or the other test depending on your interest. And the homogeneity of this data, how the harmonic of the data will also be checked by the use of Levine test or the other tests depending on your interest. And the different in means of this data, on maybe you are studying about phytochemical properties and levels of heavy metals concentration. Now, the different in means of this data then will be analyzing by using one-way ANOVA. So from here, you realize that ANOVA is responsible for detection the means, the difference of mean between more than two variables that you will be having in your study. And then while running this ANOVA, we have the post-hoc test within which ANOVA, while you open up for the ANOVA while running in the SPSS or the R or whatever kind of statistical software, when you are running about this, there is a section called the post-hoc test, from where you decide which test will be sufficient to prove that the variations between mean were statistically significant or were not statistically significant. So for instance, I have tried to use this example now, that Duncan multiple test or the Fisher's least significance difference, LSD, will be performed to test whether the differences between mean were or will be statistically significant at a particular level. For example, at P is equal to 0.05. If you find that within your data you have an aspect of correlation, you need to state right from the proposal that Pearson correlation coefficient or Spearman, depending whether your data is numerical or nominal, categorical in nature, so it will be clearly stated that Pearson correlation coefficient will be performed. You see, Pearson correlation coefficient will be performed to determine correlation, the correlation between two variables. And if you are also intending to carry out a so-called regression, state right from your proposal that whether you are using simple or stepwise multiple correlation regression analysis will be performed to derive an empirical model or to make predictions of a particular phenomena or variable under investigation. And then you need to come up with the general statement that all this is statistics. All this statistic that I'm going to call out will be performed by using either you are using SPSS package of which version, or you'll be using ARA programming language, or you'll be using Pro, Starter Pro and whatever, or any other statistical software. So from this, you will have a combined complete information trying to explain all the statistical analysis on your particular study. It's not just a single sentence as it is here, that data from the proposed study will be analyzed by ANOVA. Then are you going to do only means? You're not going to do any other activities. Yeah, it might be by ANOVA, depending on the study. Well and good. But from the document that you sent to me last week, they are quite opposite from what it is within your document. Therefore, guys, try to put all the relevant information on this particular section. It is very important section, though you normally ignore and you find as if it has less concern, but for sure you're doing a wrong conception. That's why I have decided to tell you today what should be taken into consideration. So once you write about the study sites, you go about maybe you start by study site, you go for the research design, you explain how your study will be conducted in the field, in the labs or the whatever. After which you go for the data, how you are going to correct your data, which method particularly will be employed while correcting data. And then after which you will have this statistical analysis, where you are going to speak about how did this data now that you have corrected will be analyzed based on their intention, the message that you want to deliver inside. So based on that particular kind of information, you need to speak about how data will be. Every kind of data, this kind of data A will be analyzed by this one, data B will be analyzed by this one, data C will be analyzed by this particular statistical test. So give the complete entire information about how the data will be analyzed, not simply using the statement ANOVA as if ANOVA is having everything. ANOVA is one component with its specific function to do. ANOVA is there to explain about the variations of the variances of means. Not everything that could be performed by ANOVA. Probably with this simple description, my friends, you will not again send to me a document on this section, which the word data will be analyzed by the use of ANOVA. One has even went further. I said data will be analyzed by one-way ANOVA. So when you go back to his information, you find there is no section that trying to explain about the use of one-way ANOVA. So with these particular perspectives, please try to make sure that that section is well written, well informative, and it should display what type of statistical information that you need to communicate. With these particular perspectives, I would like to say thank you once again. If you're having more challenges, you can bring for us. We can discuss together. But because of the situation of COVID, that's why we can use this online interaction where we can give some sort of information and make more clarifications between us. With this simple description, I would like once again say thank you for your time. All the best.